I would like to say Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there and all the fathers who's taking care of mothers today and forever. So my best wishes to everyone. We will start the session now. I hope everyone's having a easy and fun day. And today we will be starting from chapter 12, Sita's journey into Lanka. So we learned about Chandrika last chapter and how Chandrika's life was disturbed completely by Sarupnakha. Sarupnakha is Ravan's sister. She was taking a form of a pretty lady, and she would enter into people's life and lure men out of wedlocks or anybody, any men. And those women were either forced to commit suicide or they would become sannyasi, but mainly commit suicide because when a woman was left by their husband, the society wouldn't accept them. It's always a woman's fault. It's even today, and it's even in the past was like that. So we have to change this trend. If somebody's wrong, even if it's a man, they should be get punished, and not the woman should be blamed for whatever happens in anybody's in their life. So I'll start chapter 12 now. And so it's Sita's journey into Lanka. So one evening, Sita Mata was cooking food in the kitchen in the little hut, and Lakshman smelled a nice fragrance, and it was a different smell, and that was Chandrika apparently, but that's how she would lure men. And he was joking with Ramji that I don't know what is this nice smell, what this fragrance is. And this flower, that new flower in our garden is emitting a very nice smell. Maybe this fragrance is, I can recognize this fragrance, but I think nature is giving a gift to our Mata. But Sita Mata recognized the smell right away because she had that fragrance smell, before. So Mata was worried, but before she could react to that fragrance or the comment of Lakshman, she heard a woman's voice in the garden. And so again, Chandrika, Sarupnakha in the form of a lady was in their garden, and Mata recognized her right away. And she introduced herself as a daughter of a great sage that no one knows about, who is from a far, far place. So nobody had heard about the father at that time of that sage's name. So back then we didn't have phones. Nobody knew everybody. Internet was not there. So we had to believe whatever she said. So she said that, and so Lakshman invited her to the dinner. And Mata peeked out of the window and she knew that empowering smell was there. Lakshman, she also brought a food with her. And Mata looked at the food, looked at her, but she didn't have time to react. So as she came out, she was standing there, and so Ramji, before Ramji or Lakshmanji could introduce Mata, she goes, I heard that two men were living here. I didn't know the maid was living here. So Ramji said, I'm pretty sure she will not have any objection of you to join us for dinner. And so Mata right away remembered the Chandrika story. And she says, let me take the pot from you, the food pot that she had brought with her, and let me take it from you. And she took it from her, and Mata went inside, and she quickly threw the food that she brought with her and cleaned the pot in and put her food in there. And it was dark, it was evening time, so nobody saw her that she switched the food. But and then they were all ready to sit down to eat. And Ramji said, the food is really nice. He knew it. Nothing is hidden from Ramji, right? So he said, the food is good. So she was thinking, at least they both like my food. And then they all eat down to food, and she kept on looking at the guest because she wanted to make sure both her husband and brother-in-law were fine. And then when she was like, I put poison in the food, how come they both are fine? So when everybody ate food, she blamed Mata that she switched the food. This is how you take care of the guest? This is how you do that to the guest? Mata got upset. Mata says, who are you? You tell me first, who are you? And why are you creating these disturbances in these ashrams? And why are you in here? So that lady, her face got really red because she was upset. And finally, her real face came out. Her real face was Sarupnakha, a demoness face. So that came out. And she said, "You are a farmer girl." So she teased Sita as a farmer girl. She goes, "I'm going to teach you a lesson." And she grabbed Sita Mata by the neck. And before anybody could think of anything, Lakshman took out his knife and he chopped the nose of Sarupnakha. And she got very upset with Lakshman because chopping a nose is basically, defacing somebody. It's degrading somebody. And that's how in some of the history lessons you'll hear that a king, if they want to, when they lose the war, the opponent party their nose would be chopped. So it's like, very defaming. So Sarupnakha got very upset and she goes, "You are going to die a very painful death." And that death comes to him in future in the war. When Hanumanji brings the jari booty, that herbal herb that Hanumanji brings, he would have died. Lakshman would have died because of this Sarupnakha's curse. But Mata took that death upon herself. We will know how she did that. She gave away her life of days to Yam Devta in lieu of Lakshman's life. If Mata hadn't done that, Lakshman would have gone. So her curse comes true. So Mata said, "You are Ravan's sister, aren't you? And you need to." And so when she cursed Lakshman, she left that place. She got upset and she left. Mata told Ramji that she is Ravan's sister. Ramji said, "I recognize. Did I not recognize your food?" I mean, what husband doesn't recognize the food? He knew everything was coming, but he just wanted her to play her cards first. So he didn't want her to say. I mean, our husbands in home, they recognize if we are cooking the food or the food is coming from our friend's house. They will definitely understand. So Ramji knew the taste of the food. So Ramji took care of Mata because her face was all scratched up because she was a demon. Her nails were big, so she had grabbed her neck right badly. So he sat down to take care of Mata's neck, and Ramji also made them aware, both of them, that now we will see Ravan soon because he's not going to be quiet because we defaced his sister. And Mata said, "I'm so sorry that I had to do the, because of all this, I should have made everybody aware because then, we would not have gone through this." And she told Ram and Lakshman about the incident of Chandrika and how her husband's death, and in the light of the comfort of she comforted. She had already told Chandrika to Ram and Lakshman, but she says, we had this day has finally, when somebody keeps on doing bad karma, the result has to come someday or the other. So this was a time. So Ramji said, "You don't have to worry. This was supposed to come. This was supposed to happen, and the story is unfolding the way it's supposed to be." And they both and Lakshman was ready to take the responsibility. Lakshman said, "I'm sorry, I didn't know what else to do, how to protect Bhavima. I had no choice, and whatever I could think, I did that." Shri Ram calmed both of them down, and she said, "Don't worry, Chandrika did not come unarmed because Lakshman thought he was feeling guilty that he hurt a woman who was unarmed." So Ramji said, "No, she was not unarmed. She came with her delusionary powers, and that was her weapon." Because she changed herself into a pretty lady and not in the form of a woman. Not in the form of a demon. So she had delusionary powers. So you have to not worry about that. You hurt an unarmed woman. Lakshman says that Lakshman said, I had no choice. I had to intervene, otherwise she would have hurt Mata. And whatever I did, I had to do, and I had to be very careful of that negative force. Next morning, but Mata saw, her heart sank. Mata went out in her yard and she saw dead birds. Dead birds were from eating the food of Sarupnakha. She felt so guilty at that moment. She could not think of anything. What she should have done is dug a hole, dug the food in there, the poisonous food. Her priority came that I have to save my family's life. And at that moment, in that rush of taking care of everything around her, about taking care of Ramji and Lakshman, she forgot about the nature. And she felt so sorry. She went outside and she picked up the dead birds and she said, "I am so sorry. It happened because of me. You ate the food in the morning." And After some days, the days kept on passing. One day they were there was at this point there was no sign from Ravan, no attack was there. Ramji said, I can feel it will not be long that Ravan is going to come. And Mata agreed with Ramji that I agree with you that it will be not long that we hear from Ravan. And then Ramji said, how do you know? I can just have a gut feeling, but how do you know? And remember how I mentioned that Sita Mata had knew how to read nature. So she could feel it in the air, that which the birds are confused which way to fly. Small creatures are not visiting her garden. They're hiding. The rivers are rushing with unnatural speed. So she could see all this trend going in the environment. And Lakshman was always a hyper brother. Lakshman is considered the roop of Sheshnag, a form of a Sheshnag, Vishnu Bhagwan's Sheshnag. And so he is a hyper nature. He goes, why do we sit and wait? Why can't we go attack him? Why are we just waiting for him to start? We'll start the war. So no, we cannot do that, because this will not be the justified war. Mata told Ramji, I have met Raman, and that was the time when I was a little child. When he came to, he was not very capable at that time, but now he has a capability to enter people's mind and twist their thinking, because he had illusionary powers. And then she told Ramji that my father was could see in future. He knew what was coming for the child. Even though Sita Mata was a little child, he made sure that Sita was there when Ravan was talking to Raja Janak, because he wanted, Raja Janak wanted her daughter Sita Mata to get an exposure for Ravan. And Ravan, and she sat through all that conversation. And at that time, she didn't understand why my father is making me sit in front of Ravan. I'm just a child. And she saw Janak Baba, and all that thinking was happening. So that night, she got all her answers. That night, when she went to bed, she kept on thinking about her Janak Baba. And Janak Baba told her in her dream that you have the inner strength and knowledge to do what must be done. Her father was a very strong pillar in her life. And so he always was there as a guiding star for her in her journey. And he also said, Janak Baba also said, you will succeed. She awoke with these pondering words. And then next morning, she says she did not want to disturb Ramji and Lakshman. And she says, let me go get some water for the house. And as she went, Devi came. Godavari Nadi appeared in a form of Devi. And she said, Mata, you must face him. See, we always, as women or as men, we always say, oh, I'm ready for any trouble. But when the trouble comes, we get scared. And so Godavari Nadi wanted her to be prepared mentally and physically, because knowingly she has to go into the demon's world. And her whole birth was the reason, her birth planning was there to take care of Ravan. So she needed all that support she could. Yeah, I can do it. She did not have to do with that. She had to prepare herself to be entering that negative energy, especially a positive person. You guys are all meditators. You can right away click and know that if a negative urja comes, negative energy comes around you. You can immediately pick which person in your life is coming with a negative energy. And this is Sita Mata. She's full of energy. She's a form of Shakti. She has to enter that demon's world, and she has to change, and so much work has to be done. So Godavari Nadi was like trying to prepare her. She said, Mata, you must face him, and face him alone. You have to awaken love that is buried deep inside him, covered by hurt and pain and by his deceits, but cannot happen without your consent. Unless you say it, it will not happen. See, why the bully is there? A person, even in schools these days, you guys either have kids or you have been a child yourself. You know why bully is there. When somebody is a bully, they are bully because they're trying to hide their hurt. If somebody is, I've worked in schools, and you guys, as I said, have been a child or you have your own children. So a bully only becomes a bully if he's trying to hide something. He's powerful, so he can hide his hurt. And that's what Godavari Nadi is trying to tell. He's trying to trying to hide his hurt. And what his hurt is, that we will learn now. And in the beginning also in the story, I told you why Ravan was a Ravan. And we will again, you will hear it in the next couple chapters. Mata said, "My consent is here. I give it," she whispered quietly. Godavari said, "Mata, you are going to go to the demon's kingdom, and you have to take all your skills with you. Your willpower will be tested, and you will have to face the pain of the whole earth." Sita Mata is a form of a Dharti Mata also, earth. So Vasundhara, she has so many names. So whatever happens to the nature around her, she feels that pain at personal level. Like some of the Reiki masters are the Reiki masters that what I have heard about, they cannot get attached with the situation of another person, because then they will not be able to heal them. So they have to cleanse them. So Mata has to feel that, will feel all that pain, whatever and Ravan is not going to take easy on her. He is going to torture her. All the illusionary powers will be used against her with Mata. Mata, you will have to go through that pain. Mata got really sad. And before she could express herself, she heard Ramji's voice. Ramji came and he said, if I ever get separated from you, don't fear, because this was coming. Ramji also got sad, and he said, "I know you are capable to keep attached with me, with the spiritual resources will be there. We cannot be separated now or ever." He said it with a faint smile. He took her hand, and both the husband and wife looked at the Godavari Devi, who was very calm, and it felt like that she was very calm and her waves were not moving. And she saw the love and the unity between that Ramji and Lakshmanji's pair. Ramji and Sita's pair. Ramji took water in her hand and he told Sita, "We should not allow fear to enter us, with your daughter as witness," because Sita Mata considered Godavari Nadi as the daughter. So Ramji took the water in his hands and his witness made Godavari Nadi as a witness. "I affirm that you are the star that guides my life. No matter what happens, I will always find my way back to you." And that's what he did. He killed Ravan and he found his star back. "There is no force in the universe that can keep me away or that can overpower for Sita. It is your love that sustains not only me, but all of the universe." He closed his eyes and he said some mantras, and then he sprinkled the water back into Godavari. Mata did the same, because they both knew that their birth was for the same purpose. Next day, Mata at that time, she gave the consent that she's ready for whatever comes in her life at this point. Next day, it was not a weather for rain. It was not a weather for storm, but the weather was very bad. And Mata was very sad. Ramji was trying to cheer up Mata, but there was no cheering up. Mata felt all the negative forces were coming, and Mata was not ready. She says she was ready, but there was still a fear in her, even though Ramji said that we should not let the fear come, because any fear is a major cause. If we are a meditator and the fear comes in us, that will hinder our growth. And so she was trying to control herself and meditate a lot, and she was trying to make herself strong from inside. Then Ramji saw a golden deer. I think Manoj sir was asking me about the golden deer last weekend. I said, yes, that was the part in the story. So Ramji saw the golden deer and he said, "I will go get it for you." And Lakshman left and Mata was inside. And Mata knew Ravan was around. And he was in the form of a rishi, a saint. And Mata tried that, okay, you know what, let's avoid the war. And she wanted to talk to him. At even the last minute, Mata wanted to avoid the war. Why avoid the war? Because, the war is not good for anybody. A lot of species will be killed. The plants will be killed. Animals will be killed. Humans will be killed. Environment will be hurt. So Mata thought that she will have a conversation with Ravan and try to sort this out. But as the Godavari Nadi had said, this was not going to be helpful, and this will not bring more any positive results. And so she has to enter that Ravan's den, Ravan's kingdom, to sort this out. Mata went inside when Mata came outside with a fruit bowl, and she knew that she was going to she's going to enter in a dark well. And as soon as he held Mata's hand, Mata shrieked in a painful voice, and all the connections with Ramji got disconnected. Soma, who was the narrator of the story, who was the maid of Sita Mata, who was narrating the story to Ansuya, who was the previous birth as Meenakshi, another maid of Sita Mata, says the pain that Sita Mata went ages ago, I can still feel that pain on my own body. That's how close Soma was with Sita Mata. All the women out here that are sitting here in the group, any person, even if you're married, if we go to the store or even in our family, if we feel somebody is watching us with a negative look, we can immediately recognize, right? Imagine if somebody other than our husband or besides our father, anybody else, and any family member who has a negative energy touches us, we can immediately recognize that touch. We even teach our kids good touch and bad touch, right? So Mata felt that, Mata being a pure Shakti form, she knew how bad Ravan was and how negative energy. Imagine the pain she had gone through. It was so much hard for Mata to feel that pain in her body, the urja, that the negative urja she could have felt. Imagine that pain with, a negative person touching you, you can feel that pain, what Mata went through. Soma says, that's the pain I feel even today, what Mata went through. And I wish I was there for her, but I wasn't there. Ansuya, who was listening to the story with her mother, she said she slept calmly that night because she knew Mata had given her permission to go in the demon's den. She was not kidnapped. Remember, Ansuya had left her school, her ashram, because her Gurukul, I should say, not ashram, because she got panic attacks listening that Mata got kidnapped, because that's what the Ramayana had been illustrated, that Mata got kidnapped. And she knew Mata never got kidnapped. So now finally she got her answer. Mata gave her permission to enter into Ravan's den, Ravan's kingdom, and she did not get kidnapped. So that she felt that her movie scenes, kind of that night went through her eyes with Mata, the pain, and how she gave her permission to the universe that yes, she's ready to go. Ansuya, next morning when she woke up, she didn't want it to disturb anybody, and she knew that today would be the day when Mata would enter the Lanka. That's what she hear from Soma. So she had to prepare herself to listen to that torture that Mata had to go. So next few chapters, you guys have to also prepare the pain that Mata will have to go through. So after this, if you feel after the session, you feel that your negative energy has affected you in the story, please take a bath, drink a lot of water, do the grounding for yourself, because some people are very sensitive. Even the storytelling, hearing can affect them. So do all the grounding rules. All the meditators here, we all know the grounding rules. Go for a walk, do meditation, take bath, drink a lot of water, stay calm. So those are all the grounding rules. So if you feel all this is affecting you on a personal level, please do this. Okay. So Ansuya says, I don't think my fear of marriage is real. And I don't know why I came here, but I think whatever it is, now I got my answer, and I will let my dad, my Pitaji, my father decide. Remember, Ansuya came to begin with. She came to meet with Soma that she had a fear of marriage because Meenakshi, in the previous that she was, had a cursed life, and so she didn't get married. Her father did not let her get married because if they would get married, somebody would die. So she had that same fear in this birth. Ansuya says, my mother took my hands in her, and she smiled. Perhaps it has finally helped you, and you are finally calm now, since you know that you are feeling connected with Rani. So Ansuya still does not know that she was Meenakshi in previous birth, and she still does not know that, how she is going to, but she feels that coming to Soma has changed her daughter in a different way. So that ends my chapter 12. Anybody has any questions, please let me know. No? I can hear you, Rama. You're on mute, dear. Rama, are you trying to say something? I cannot hear you, Rama. You're on the mute.
Okay. Can you now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, the story when we heard like in the book or anything, we heard like Ravan came asking about Bhiksha, and she doesn't want to because Lakshmanji put the Lakshman line, and she cannot. But Ravan said no, I cannot cross this line. But here I'm seeing like she came forward to give the food, right?
Yes, yes.
So
So she came there to get the food, and there's no description of Lakshman Rekha in there. And she had already given her complete will that she's ready to go in the uh, kingdom's den.
she is ready, but yeah, that's what I'm little confused because
Yes,
all the
there's
story like till now.
yeah. I call this Ramanand Ramayana Sagar is totally different than this Ramayana. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
so
okay, okay.
Ramayana that we've been hearing is what I call as men dominated society. Women are totally off the charts here, and so there is no
Hmm.
mention of Lakshman Rekha, as Manoj sir says. Yes, he's right. There's no mention of Lakshman Rekha in this.
And here one more thing also I want to like Sita begged to like Sita keep on asking like I want that golden
Yeah,
yeah, but yeah, but here
here,
we
here
are seeing
that Ramji. Yes, you're right. Here Ramji is trying to make her feel better, and he says, "I'll go get it."
Ramji is trying to make her like to be happy to and he get it, but what we heard is Sita Mata is asking like I
Ask.
want that golden. That's what we heard from the beginning.
Yes. Yes.
So
So yes, it's totally different. Yes, lot of things we'll
yeah,
find. Yes.
okay, 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 no problem. Yeah, just I want to make sure.
Good.
So no
No,
problem.
no worries.
Yeah,
Any questions, please? Yes, it's asking. Yes, it's good to ask
sure.
this. Thank you. Okay, we will start chapter 13. Yeah, if I don't think we can finish it, but I don't want to waste time. We have 10 pages, so whatever we can finish, I can start in the mid chapter next week. I'll do a little wrap up as I always do, so you guys don't get lost in the story. So our next chapter is chapter 13, Sita's sacrifice. Soma, that day when Ansuya and her mother, when they went to Soma had a different tone of voice because what Raman had tricked her, Soma felt like that all was coming to her. The pain, while even narrating the story, she could feel that pain in herself. The sorrowful tone of Soma's voice of the day before had turned of one of defiance. It was continued because we're going to hear this for next chapter or two. He did not know what he had brought to Lanka. He thought he had brought a victory trophy, but he did not know that it's going to be she is going to be the reason for his um, loss. He's going to lose the battle. Mata did not know what was unfolding for her in the future days that was coming. And she could feel all the negative forces. Mata had done a lot of sacrifices that no one knows about in Lanka. Ansuya's mother says, so this was all a design of Mata coming to Lanka? We tried to hear in Ayodhya, but not many people were interested in this kind of story. Yes, it was also mentioned that Lavanya, yes, sir. It also is mentioned that Raman could not touch her because the Agni, the first time when they came in the, I'm going to tell you that part now, that fire comes out of her body. And so the only time she touched was the sparks come when he tried to hold her and the fruit bowl falls down. And when he tries to come make her sit in the chariot, the flames come out. Yes, I'm going to start that chapter now. So, so there was a rumor, but nobody wanted to hear about that story about what sacrifices Mata did. Soma says that everybody wanted to hear about how many victories Ramji had done, how many wars they had won, and how nobody wanted to hear the sacrifices of women. So Mata, when she came back to Ayodhya after all this, we will come back. I'm not losing. Don't lose me, okay? So Soma says when Mata came back to Ayodhya, she never discussed what sacrifices she had made. She never told Ramji what happened. The only person she told was to Hanumanji, who was Mahadev's form, and Mahadev had taken a form of monkey, and excuse me, and he had always helped Ramji and Sita on all through their journey. Mata had a very strong bond with Hanumanji, and Hanumanji was like a Mata's child. and he was a very devoted and a loving child to Mata. And Mata told all her sacrifices to Hanumanji, and he said that please tell the story to whoever you feel appropriate to. And Hanumanji had told all the story to Soma and told her the same thing. Whoever you feel is appropriate for the story should hear this story. So going back, as soon as Raman brought Sita Mata into the chariot, he tried to hold her hand, and all of a sudden, Ravan, as he was trying to grab her hand, he could not, because the energies were very high of Mata. He shook off his hand, and Ravan could feel an instant reaction, and Mata was full of anger. And Mata's anger turned into a fire. It felt like Mata was generating a fire out of her body. And he could not get near her or touch her. And Ravan, and she told Ravan, I am coming with you, but you cannot make me captive. I'm coming with you with my free will. I don't think I'm your captive. Ravan took a step back. Mata was still emanating out fire, and she walked into the chariot. Mata told Hanuman, I don't know what happened to me, how that fire came out of me. I was so full of anger. I had no words how to explain. And then she remembered the words of Ramji. You are the calm that stills my tears, that heals the pain I feel for the world. And as soon as she heard Ramji, she felt calm, and that Agni, that fire that was emanating out of her body, stopped. When we are in pain or we are disturbed, what do we say? We say our God's name. And how that calmness and feelness, Ram, 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 or any God that you believe in, Hanumanji, Hanuman, whoever you, Sai Baba, whoever you believe, Guru Nanak Dev, anybody you believe, you take their name, it feels calm. And so for Mata, Ramji was the person. Anybody, it could be any of your Guru, anybody that you have faith in. So for Mata, Ramji was the whole world that she had around. So Mata got into there, and as soon as Ramji's thought came to her, she calmed down, and her vibrations that were coming out of her body, she was shaking with anger. The shakiness stopped. And then we hear about Jatayu. Jatayu was a faithful bird who tried to save Mata, and it's the same that we hear in the other stories in Jatayu. He tried to save Mata, and so that part is exactly the same as we hear in the Ramayana. So he tried to save Mata, but he ends up losing his life. And Mata was very sad that Jatayu lost his life. And Ravan started laughing. Look, one person came to help you, and I killed him. And then Mata was again very upset, and so a wind blew, and it whispered in her ears, this is not the first and the last. This is the first, but not the last sacrifice. You will have to see many more of these. So you have to take control of yourself, and you have to stay strong. And for this is the result of the work you have taken in your hand. So it will keep on coming. So you cannot fall weak. And so they both reach Lanka. Raman was trying to put Mata into chains, but she shook off. They stepped down, and everybody was amazed. The crowd was there. The soldiers, members of the household, Surupnakha, everyone was there. Surupnakha had a winning smile on her face. She had a big, on her disfigured face, she had a big smile, and she spat on Mata. And she said, this is my revenge. My brother brought you here. They walked, and Mata saw a garden there. Mata saw a ashok tree that was calling her name. Mata went there, and she sat near the tree. All the Rakshasni, as the demonesses that were guarding the place of Ravan. So Ravan is the demon. So all the people that were around there are demonesses or demons, right? Men or women. And yes, Chandrakalaji. Mata went by herself, but Jatayu did not know that Mata went by herself. He just hears Mata that there, and he sees that a woman is being kidnapped. So Jatayu goes to help her. And they did not know, but Jatayu story is apparently in this book as well. Yes. I hope I answered your question. So all the Rakshasni, all the demons that were guarding the place, they brought Mata a fruit basket and some water. This was the very wrong thing that Mata did. She drank the water. So you know how they say in Hindi, Jaisa an, vaisa man, which means whatever you eat, that's how you become. So Mata drank that negative urja, negative energy water, so her mind becomes tinted. And as soon as she sat in the meditation, her mind was foggy, and uh, she was struggling very badly to stay herself alert. But there was no connection between Ramji. She kept on repeating Ramji's name, and there was no response from the other end. It feels like the connection was not getting reestablished. It had never happened before. Anytime this has happened in the before, things would have get connected in the meditation. She tried very hard to keep herself from thinking the worst. Did he die? No, death cannot come. Nobody can separate us. Hours passed and she struggled. Night came, her desperation grew. She called for Parvati Ma. Soma, Soma wanted to continue her the story, but she was getting a lot of negative urja, and Raman was also Raman had also tinted her mind. So Soma says that lust and thirst for power had changed Ravan into a different person. The extent that he can go you cannot even realize. Hence, the battles of mind began. So now, right now, there's no army, no wars, no weapons, mind games. So right now, first, Ravan is going to attack Mata and play with mind games. So torturing somebody mentally is worse than torturing somebody physically, playing with their mind. So Mata went into the deep meditation. This chapter is going to be very hard, so please do grounding if you feel so, because there's a lot of deaths and corpses and a lot of stuff that you're going to hear that might be intimidating to some of you. Please do grounding after this. Mata went into deep meditation. Gradually, shapes take form. Isolated landscapes, completely barren places. Instead of the water in the rivers, there was lava, blood flowing, and fire flowing instead of the water. Mata felt suffocating. She kept on wandering. She felt like she has lost the way. Finally, she asked, "What is this place that reeks of death?" She suddenly stumbled on something, and that was a pile of corpses that she stumbled on. Half decomposed faces. It gives me chills. Please do grounding, my friends. Half decomposed faces and limbs, partially eaten. Gasping, she drew back. "Who are you? And why are you guys all here?" All the corpses start rising again, and they began to speak together. These corpses took the shape of women. They were abused and disfigured, and these women had been tormented by Ravan. And all of them, either they were killed by Ravan after Ravan used them, or they died themselves by committing suicide. Help us, Mata. Our horror turned into Mata's horror turned into compassion. And she touched them one by one, pressing her hands across their half-decayed faces. And then she sees the figure of Ravan, and he starts laughing. So you meet all my trophies here. All these dead women are me. I made them into dead women. I use them and I throw them like, So Sita, now you see, now they were created for, these women were created for my pleasure. So he's very happy on his achievement, what he did. Soon everything will turn into dust. Ravan too disappeared amidst of the cloud of laughter. Mata was confused. Is this illusion real? She felt weak and disoriented. Suddenly there was a beautiful forest. This is all happening in Mata's meditation. Then she saw Ram near the lake. Finally, she gets some peace. But what is this? An unknown woman is sitting near Mata, and he was telling Mata in the vision. Mata hears that Ramji is telling that woman, "Sita is dead." Mata cried of pain, and she felt like telling her, "I am not dead, I'm right here." Then Mata sees that same woman, beautiful woman, sitting on a throne on Ayodhya with Ramji. Mata kept on crying, "I am not dead, I am alive." And all of a sudden, that person that she was thinking Ravan turned into Ravan. So this is all the illusionary games. You know how we go to circus and the ringmaster will create an illusion? That is the illusion times 10, you can say. Far worse illusion, because this illusion has been playing with this Ravan on Mata on a personal level. So he's torturing her on a personal level. Mata closes her ears. She kept on seeing Ravans in a different form and him violating women. She felt the pain of these women as they were being done to her. That's a far more pain. These scenes disappear and she finds herself alone. Oh, this is illusion. He has trapped me in that illusionary world. She ran, but she felt like she wanted to run, but she felt like she is captured into glass doors. She gets exhausted and she falls into the ground and she comes out of her meditation. Mata called out for Mother Earth. Sita Mata called out for Mother Earth. She needed grounding. She held her hands. So see, Mata is also doing grounding. If Mata, full of a positive energy woman, if she needs grounding, we all do. Mata, what was this? It was a dead world. And then she goes back into meditation. She sees Ram again, sitting with two young children. She cried to talk to her kids. She longed to embrace the kids. Ram, these are your children. Hug them. And Raman, what evil the person was, what mind has he created this horror? And an answer came quickly. It is he who tried to kill his son again and again. So when she sees that Ramji, she sees Ramji with two sons, two kids, and she says, "What is this? Why is this illusion? Why is he cutting and chopping these kids? What is all this going on?" The answer comes right to you. Everybody knows the story of Prahlad. So Raman, in previous birth, was Prahlad's father, Hiranyakashipu. So he tried to kill his son again and again. So same illusion he is playing in this birth on Mata's mind. And this is an abuse of women that he has abuse of children too, and it becomes his common behavior. Soma, who has been telling the story, opened his eyes. I was too frightened. I just didn't wanted to know how Mata took this torture, how she endured this torture. Ansuya's mom asked, were these so illusions? He keeps on playing illusions. So Soma says, yeah, these were all illusions. And he continued. He didn't stop at this. Someone had to stop Ravan. He was setting a course for humanity that would lead to disaster, self-destruction. So if this keeps on going, then the destruction would keep on continuing. Because of his power, he was dangerous not only to Shakti herself, he was dangerous to everybody. And so that's why Mata had to be born on earth. Mata had to take all this pain on herself. She had to shed her body and merge into infinity. Mata felt like this pain was too much. I'm done. I cannot do this. So Mata felt like she is ready to return to the celestial home. She fell on the ground and self leaving her body. And she heard a voice. No force in the universe can separate us. That was Ramji's voice. Use Sita, for it's your love that sustains not only me, but also that universe. She looked up and saw Ramji's form. As she uttered his name, the calm of his eyes took away all the agony she has experienced. Every atom in her body started to feel better. She continued to say, Ram, Ram, Ram. Strength returned, started lifting dead kids in her vision that she saw. She started repairing those limbs. All of a sudden, she saw Ravan again. And Ravan this time is throwing large meteors in his hands and he's trying to hit the earth and planets. And he is like telling Mata, I am going to hurt the universe. There will be no universe. I can control anything. So Mata comes in between the meteor and the planets and she saves those planets. Ravan says, I am going to hurt the sun. And if that happens, the whole ball of light will turn into a black light. So Mata, I will ignite the Surya Dev, he said. And then he disappeared and called out to her from a distance and told her that he will destroy the solar system. Mata appeared before him. What was this force behind him? Mata was wondering what would have done it. And again, his previous birth story came to answer Mata. It was Hiranyakashipu. He killed his own son, and that was a pain. He was a bully. He was an older version of bully. And why was he bully? Because he was dealing with his own emotions. He had hurt Prahlad. Killing your own child is not a game. And as a father, he kept on doing. His ego, his pride was always more important than pray me as a god. And when his own son declined to pray him, that ego came him. No, I am the god. And so what he did, he tried to kill his own son. And so he was hurt. That emotions, got into him so badly that now he's doing the same. He is hurting the women. When the mother is the bearer of the child, so he wants to hurt these women who carries these children too. So he feels that he has power over the weak, and now he's strong. So that's how bully is. If they can control the powerful, if they can control the weaker group, they think I'm powerful. That's what he was doing. Ravan almost succeeded then so Mata had to enter Ravan's mind. But he was very clever. When he found out Mata could see his thoughts, he tried to intimidate her and creating all kinds of illusions to demoralize her. He almost succeeded and was ready to give up her body if Shri Ram had not stopped her. So Mata was ready to give up her body, but this is the second time Ramji saved Mata. The first time, when she was very young, she was meditating. Remember in the previous chapters, Raja Janak and Raja Janak tried to bring, I forgot the Rishi Mata's name. I will find it out. If anybody remembers from the previous chapter, please tell me. Her teacher, Rishi Gargi tried to bring her back, and Janak Baba tried to bring Mata back from the meditation. She had gone into the deeper levels, but nobody could bring her. And then she sees Ramji bringing her back. And at that time, she had not seen Ramji's figure. All she could hear was she did not see his face. She could only see his form and hear his voice. And he was the one who brought her back to the earth. And so Soma says that this was the very hard part where they were playing the brain games. And so her heart was very burdened. Oh, we are on time, which I finished the chapter 13. Thank you, masters, for listening to me. Chapter 13 is over. Next chapter would be chapter 14, where we will start the curse that created Ravan. And the platform is open for everyone to